Good morning, everyone in the great city of Peekskill, New York. My name is Rainey. I'm the proud mayor of the great city of Peekskill, New York, and this is our weekly update. And I'm joined by our wonderful city manager, Andy Stewart, and
How you
our
doing, Mayor?
wonderful good morning, Andy, and our wonderful friend Louis Segarra, who's also here as the chair of the Peekskill Housing Authority. And I also want to make note that he's a little bit busy this year because he's also part of the Rotary Club, and both boards and organizations have been extremely busy. So, Louis, thanks for joining us this morning, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, everybody that's tuning in, before we begin, I just want to say, hope you all had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year's coming up. So, I hope you're all planning to have a Happy New Year and preparing to be as safe as possible. COVID is still here. We're going to remind people of this every time we talk. Almost at every council meeting, we mention it. The members of the council board always mention it. So, we're going to make sure that we continue to do so. So, Andy, you weren't here with us last week, but I'm glad that you're here. So I'll let you open up this morning if you would like to.
Yeah, last week was a busy week, as you know, and I did get some family time in, and we had a number of city things going on. The biggest story really had to do with the storm that came through the week before and the continuing process of sort of mopping up and wrapping up with that. But fortunately, with the warm rain, helped us out as far as clearing remaining sidewalks. But I would like to talk a little bit about the storm recovery effort, if that's okay with you.
Absolutely.
Okay, so just a couple of things. I mean, number one, over a foot of snow is a huge undertaking. It's unusual, and our DPW really rose to the task. And so, thank you to the DPW. Thank you to the guys from the water department who actually had to fix a broken water main on North Division Street right at the beginning of that snowstorm. And they were working out there for hours in the dark, up to their knees in cold water, fixing a broken water main to restore service to the people and businesses along that street. So a lot of extra effort went in. I want to express appreciation as well, just to city residents, people who shoveled the sidewalks when they're supposed to, who maybe took a little extra time and shoveled out a fire hydrant, people who helped out a neighbor. We all have to come together, and that's when people really shine, times of emergency like that. On the downside, the effort to remove snow from streets was really hampered by the number of vehicles that were parked in violation of the winter parking rules, and it's a real big hindrance. A plow, if you have cars parked on both sides of a typical city side street, we can't even get our biggest plows down through that road. Got to tackle it with smaller ones, and so having those cars out of the way on one side of the street just makes the cleanup so much faster. And we really, really appreciate people who do comply with that regulation. And we realize it's inconvenient, but it's even more inconvenient when the street can't be plowed properly. And there's a lot that goes into that conversation, but what the city did issue, a few hundred parking tickets during and after the storm to try to drive home that point. And hopefully next time around, those people will be more careful. And also issued tickets for, as we always do in any snowstorm and recovery effort, to folks who were neglected to shovel their sidewalks. The rule on the books is, 4 hours after the end of a snowfall, property owners are responsible for the sidewalk cleaning in front of their building. And in some cases that doesn't get done, and we do have code enforcement folks out there keeping an eye on things. We appreciate people's cooperation with that as well. So that's just a little bit on the storm cleanup I wanted to mention. Thank you, Mayor.
Absolutely. So I just got a few quick updates. One, had a great conversation this morning with members of the state. They're looking to go forward soon, hopefully early next year, with the final decisions for the DRI. That's something that the city could look forward to. We're one of the few cities in New York that has something to look forward to after this crazy pandemic is done. So I do want to thank everybody that was a part of the LPC, the local planning committee, for all of your recommendations and suggestions. As all of you are fully aware, one of my priorities was the Kylie Youth Center and the Youth Borough, and the Kylie Youth Center was the recipient. I want to say about $1 million from the DRI funding, as well as $2 million from the county executive's capital improvement budget this year. So next year, post crazy pandemic, we have a lot to look forward to in the great city of Peekskill. Also want to remind people the police task force will not be this Thursday. We will return the following Thursday, January 7th. We will have another public police task force meeting to the public, which we will notify everybody. We'll put the word out. We will share all of the information on our city website, our city Facebook page, and our government channel, and any other possible means to make sure people are fully aware and involved. If anyone wants to submit any suggestions, recommendations, or questions to the police task force committees, you can do so on our city website. All of the information is there on how to email us, how to contact us, and we will respond to your email as soon as possible. Um, Another thing I wanted to mention is testing. There are a number of places you can get tested in the city of Peekskill and in the area. If you go to our city website as well, we have a specific area for COVID-19. For those of you who are looking for more information on what the city of Peekskill is doing, how we're doing, our numbers, where to get tested, when to get tested, how to contact offices or places to get tested. All of that information is on the city website. We'll be flashing as well on our government channel for those of you who don't have access to the internet or to the to Wi-Fi. You can check it there too. And there's just a lot of stuff going on. We will return Friday the 8th, I believe it is, January 8th. The city Peekskill Youth Borough, the city of Peekskill and Westcott will return on Friday the 8th back to the Youth Borough parking lot, giving out the food distribution with Feeding Westchester. So we had to take 2 weeks off for scheduling and other matters, but next week on the 8th, we will be back at the Youth Borough parking lot from 1 p.m. for seniors, 2 p.m. for everyone else. So with that being said, I do want to say thank you and welcome to Mr. Louis Cigar for joining us this year. A lot of people were, interested in knowing what you got going on. I know the Peekskill Housing Authority has been working extremely hard this past year more than ever. Everybody's been working harder this past year more than ever. So I thank you for joining us, and please let us know some of the things that's going on over there, and of course how the city can help and how the people in the community can be aware.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Andy, thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here and express some of the things that are going on at the Peekskill Housing Authority. As you know, I recently came on board.
Yeah.
And I went from being commissioner to consideration for vice chair to actually becoming the chair of the organization. And it's, a lot of catching up to do.
Right.
And with an aggressive program that we want to put together, myself and the rest of the commissioners, who many are new as well, working together with our council member, Douglas, and our executive director, Ms. Croslin, and with a lot of help from you, Mr. Mayor, we're putting together an aggressive program to really be one with the tenants and the housing authority. Because I always believe that in order to get things done, we all have to buy in. We all have to work together. And for too long, it's been it's us versus them, at the housing authority. And I think we're not going to get anywhere. So I bring my approach in how to get things done to the housing authority. And I think we're starting to see some progress in it. And like at the last November board meeting we had, Mr. Mayor, you were there. And a lot of the suggestions you gave were incorporated into our aggressive program for this year and next year. So I really thank you for that. I appreciate when you show up because, you know the city as well as most people, and you understand what's going on with the tenants and as well as what the housing authority can do. Sometimes the thought that we can do all these great things with the little bit of funding we have. As you know, we're always behind on rent. 50% of our 50% of the tenants either pay late or don't pay at all. So it's hard to run anything in that capacity. So we're working on things to bring the tenants on board, to let them know that this is for them, and what we want to do is really for them to improve their quality of life, to improve low-income housing, and get away from what people always thought low-income housing is. It's really not that. It's a wonderful program for people who are really in need. So with that, we've put together a program. One of the things that people were asking about was, and you had mentioned it as well, and you brought it up, Mr. Mayor, is incentives for people who pay their rent on time. And I think that's great because sometimes, they get, with all the money that's owed, they get pushed aside and people don't really commend them on doing what they should do, but do, because they know it's important to continue the housing programs they're trying to do. So we're putting together a incentive of giving them either a laundry card or a grocery card or the local groceries and things like that, to really tell them thank you for helping us out and making sure we've got funds to make these programs work. We're also looking at a way that they can facilitate payment. Not everyone can get up and go, where Bowman Towers is, where the central office is, and where Dunbar is as well. It's not easy for people to get there. So we're looking at new ways. Our website's being updated. We're including online payments. People can take a look at their statements, how much they owe. They can make their calls in of things they need fixed. So we're trying to facilitate a way that they can communicate with us, and we can get to them fast and easy, and make sure their needs are being adhered to and responded to. I think one of the things we're pushing aggressively is communication.
Mm-hmm.
Too many times people are saying, well, you're not listening to us, you're not hearing us. Well, we are. We're aggressively hearing you. We're putting out there many ways that we can communicate. One of the ways that we're doing is we've updated our website so people can get to us. We've updated a Facebook page because we know everything is social media now. So there's a way you get on, where you can get on now, and you can send us your calls, your request for changes, things that need to be fixed. We're updating how we send out information to you. We're posting it online. We're knocking on doors. We're putting in your mailboxes. We're putting it on the bulletin boards. We're actually updating all emails and phone numbers. But that, if you're not savvy socially, we're going to send you a text, or we're going to call you, or we're going to, send an email to you. But we want to make sure that you've got the information you need.
Right.
Things are changing. We're trying to, make the quality of life better, and we want you to know what we're doing. So you can go back and say, I know they're working on my behalf to make housing and my life, quality of life better. So that's some of the things we're doing. We're putting notices out on people who are, have any complaints. There's complaints on smoking. We're putting signs up to let them know, and we're doing it in a positive way. So we're saying, thank you for being a good neighbor. Please, no loud music, no smoking, no loitering. We find the positive approach normally works better. So that's what we're trying to do. It's one community between all of us, and that's what we're hoping everyone buys into. We're also beginning to create a newsletter so we can hand out, let people know the good things that are happening. In this year where all you hear is bad news, we want to let people know some of the good things that are happening out there. We want to celebrate people. We want to celebrate our tenants. So if someone's graduating from high school, we want to celebrate that person. We want to celebrate that family. So it's about the positiveness, and like you say, Mr. Mayor, bringing the positive energies, and that's what we're about. We have, like I said, a great board that's bought in, and they're all on board to what we want to do. Some of the things we're also doing is sending out surveys. You mentioned that, Mr. Mayor, also at the meeting. So we're asking the tenants, what is it you're looking for that we can help out and make better for 2021? So we're looking to get their input and get on board with what their needs are, because that's what really is all about, is getting to their needs and making it better. We did the window display. I know it's not a Macy's type of display, at Bowman Towers, but it's a start.
It's a good start. It definitely is. That's for sure.
This is for the residents, so we want to start that. Our lighting competition went on. I got to get an update on who won that, but we're trying to incorporate everyone. They're very happy with that, so we're excited. The Christmas cards went out. That's some of the things we're working on. One of the other issues we're doing now, we've lost our council, Mr. Jerry Klein, who's been doing wonderful work for us for a long time, passed away suddenly. So we're in the midst of getting new council. The proposals out there for anyone who wants to go in there and get it. It's on the website. We are looking at pest control issues. We've had someone who's going to be doing an assessment. We're trying to eliminate and work with our tenants, let them know this is what we're going to do to help pest control issues, but this is what we need you to do to ensure that we work hand in hand on both sides to get it done. So we're working on those type of things. Let's see what some things we're also doing. We're going to look at also the rent payments. We're going to work with our tenants to find out those who are behind on rent, what they can do. We provide a couple options for them to get on board payment options and things like that. So that's definitely one of the things we're working, hand in hand with them on to try and get. It's very important we get the rent in so we can do some more of the great things we want to do. We're working on mental health. A lot of stuff is going on. This pandemic has not been helping. And, we're working with one of our organizations right now where people can come and call as choice advocacy. And, for people to call in and let us know what's going on. How can we help? What are some of the programs you need, some of the, counsel that you need, because mental health is rampant everywhere. And this pandemic did not help out. And we are invested in our tenants. We know, whatever they need, we're going to be there helping them out. It's like I've been saying over and over, it's a full community piece. We're, like you mentioned, the Boys and Girls Club. That's one piece we're looking to get going. Next year, we're working on separation of the deeds. So we're looking, and we're looking for the tenants to be part of that. We want to keep them updated with what's going on, and the thing is, once we fully understand how everything's going, we want to disseminate the information. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves and then come back and say, well, we can't do this, we can't do that. As we get it, we're going to disseminate it. Our repositioning also. Right now, as you know, we don't have the funding to really update the apartments, the kitchens, the bathrooms, a lot of the buildings. So we're looking at repositioning that will benefit the tenants. And this is what it's all about, get them to have, the same way we all want to live. We want nice kitchens, nice bathrooms, and those things have been there for a while, but the money's not there to fix it. So, we're looking to reposition it where it benefits the tenants and the housing authority. The housing authority has to be fiscally capable of running. And right now, with what's going on, it is very difficult to do. But I know the tenants are into it. They're going to do what they can and work with us to get it done. We've sent out a letter to NYSERDA to get our grant money so that they will pay for analysis of what we can do with solar. If we can get solar on board, save some money for the housing authority, that will get spread out to the tenants.
Nice.
And those are just some of the things that we got going on. We are aggressive, and it's all for the tenants. I didn't come on board just for the status quo. I came here to change things for the benefit of our tenants, our housing authority, our city. I grew up in housing, and I know how good it can be, how good it should be, and our tenants, deserve nothing but the best from us. So.
Listen, that all of that sounds great. I didn't even realize some of the stuff I knew, but I didn't know that you guys were working on a social media presence. That's definitely a step. Everything you said is a step in the right direction. A couple of steps, actually, if I may say myself.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
That's amazing. So, wow.
Luis,
your housing authority.
Luis, we do have a question on Facebook. If you want to take a quick minute to respond. The one of them is from Destiny Williams. She basically says, aren't you supposed to pay your rent on time? I think you talked a little bit about rent payment, but you might want to just address that question as it pertains to tenants in the housing authority.
Of course it's supposed to.
And then the other one is somebody, Mrs. Lopez, says that there's a hot water and heat issue in Dunbar. I don't know if you have an update on that or something you're aware of.
All right, so if I could jump in, I just want to say to the first question, of course you're supposed to pay your rent on time. The idea is to encourage prioritizing that. Some people get caught up, mixing their priorities up, and it has an effect on the entire housing authority rather than just that one person's few months behind their rent. So you're definitely supposed to pay your rent on time. Seemed like that was like a rhetorical question almost to say, but the idea is to try to encourage everyone to prioritize it so we can all have the same benefit in the long run. So, but I'll let Louis.
So Mayor, you just answered that. I'll leave that question because you answered it, that's better than I could, because exactly that's why we're doing it and what we're thinking about. And again, it's a positive approach to something. So we're never really going to stop doing those type of things. If it's a positive thing that we can get tested buy into, then that's what it's really about. We do need to increase the amount of rent that comes in on time. So those are programs we're putting into place. Right. As far as the hot water and the heat, I have not heard about that yet. Normally they call the office in and make the call, and from there, Ms. Crowder and her team get on it. I've worked closely with Ms. Crosby the last couple of months, and I've seen, how they respond to things, and they do get on it very quick. We have 270 something units there. So, it does sometimes take a little bit. It's not as fast as a lot of people would like, because there is, we handle a lot of people, a lot of apartments, but hot water and heat issues, they get on right away. I will definitely, after this call, reach out to Ms. Crosland to make sure she's aware of it and that action is being taken.
Absolutely.
There was another question, if you don't mind, referencing, you use the word repositioning. This is from Miss DeWitt, and she just wanted to know more about what that means as far as the housing authority goes.
Okay, that is a term that's used when you reach out and we're getting a consultant to put a program together, proposal together, where you can get, you work in the public-private sector, where you get developers to come in and look at actually doing and putting in the money to upgrade the apartments in all the different sectors, the bathrooms, the kitchens, the floors, the old systems that need to be updated. And working with HUD under their guidelines with what they have called Section 18 and Section 22 is to try and move over to a Section 8 program, where the federal government actually pays the developer who's put up all the money to fix the apartments. So that's the program that we're working on. As we get more information from the consultant, then we'll disseminate it out to the tenants so they can have their feed in. We want to get them to understand what's going on, get their concerns, and work into a proposal that incorporates both.
Right. And I would also
not going to help
encourage,
without their input.
yeah, I would also encourage people, family, friends, tenants, residents of the city of Peekskill to stay involved in the process. The housing authority meets every month. And now that they have their websites getting updated, social media is getting updated, I know a lot of the tenants were looking at ways to be, more involved and also be able to communicate. So that's beautiful to hear. But I always encourage people in the community, don't wait until after decisions are made to come up with suggestions. Be a part of the process. And part of the conference for today is to give you all an idea of what the Peekskill Housing Authority is doing, what the city is doing, and everyone else. You can be involved in the entire process. So you can send in recommendations, send in suggestions, voice your opinion, let your voice be heard. So now that many of you are aware of what's going on, stay involved, stay connected, stay consistent, and let's, like Louis said, let's do this all together.
Right, and we've also set up the Zoom meeting format. So we're going to start doing our meetings in Zoom, whether it's a hybrid of actually being in the meeting, in the board meeting, or you can come in via the Zoom. In January, we'll probably do a Zoom meeting because of the increase in COVID cases. We're going to step back a little bit as to the person-to-person meeting, but we're going to have Zoom set up so that people like we're doing now, people can, call in, give us their questions, their concerns, and things like that. So, we haven't done it yet, but January is when we started off as part of our aggressive program to communicate with our tenants.
Good. Andy, how we looking?
Well, I just wanted to know, there's a couple other topics I was hoping we would get to if you want to move on. I know that specifically related to the Rotary Club and the efforts to address the challenge of food insecurity in the community. I know Luis is very involved with that as well.
Yeah, you can touch on that. Yeah.
Sure. As you know, we've been doing a ton of work for food insecurities. We've worked well with the city. We've worked well with Feeding Westchester, the Rotary Club itself. Just this month alone, besides food insecurities, we gave out over 2,000 toys as part of our Toys for Tots program. We gave out over 500 hot meals that same day. This past Saturday, we just gave out 700 hot meals to our residents, and we're working with Westchester County, who gave us an additional $25,000 grant to work with the local restaurants and make sure that they're keeping their employees, that their business is open, and working with our residents to give them the hot food. So that's what we've been doing just this month alone. We expect to continue that through January. Besides Westchester County, we do our own programs. Last week we spent almost $6,000 working with the restaurants to give out food
Hmm.
to the residents, and that's all in-house, not including Westchester County. Like I said, we work with anyone and everyone. On Fridays, we're helping out the city distribute the food they have that they
Yeah,
were
it's
getting.
certainly
So,
good. Yeah.
we're almost, everywhere they need us. Key to next year is going to be, again, mental health as well. People do not understand how badly it is affecting people.
Hmm.
And we're going to be in the crossroads of that. We're going to be in the front lines of that as well, to making sure people have access to mental health, counsel, and any type of assistance that they need. But food insecurities is big. When we get, to give out the food, the lines are long, the people are in need, and they're very thankful. That's one thing I can say. They're very thankful for
Hmm.
everything that everyone's doing in the city, Westchester County, Rotary, and even the residents. Like, Lewis, what can we do? Can we, I got a bunch of cans here that's
Right.
still
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
Can we
yeah. That's
give
for
them to
sure.
you? And, they've been great. So this city is really, it's why I love the city so much. It's we all gather together for any common cause, and to make our city better and for our residents.
Got it. So, Andy, we got any more on your end?
Well, I mean, there's certainly other topics we could get into. I wanted to mention just two items directly related to city operations, if we could take a minute for that before we wrap up.
Andy, I just wanted to touch, I know we were talking about Cuenca, Ecuador.
Hmm.
So there is a Rotary Club out there. And early next year, I plan to reach out to them, because I know we have a big community here. And our councilman, Ramon Fernandez,
Yeah.
is interested in a sister-city relationship. So I figured, I'll reach out to them and start the dialogue as to, how can we um, get together, and how can the residents, from Cuenca, be able to communicate back and forth, and be helpful, them to us and us to them, especially during these tough times.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
no, just a background on that, the city council had a presentation last week, maybe actually it was Monday, last week, that was organized by Councilman Fernandez with the leadership of various business people in the city who have taken it upon themselves to create a more formal relationship between the Ecuadorian and the larger city community here in Peekskill with the city of Cuenca, Ecuador, for reasons of promoting tourism, for the exchange of culture, and visits back and forth. And
Absolutely.
it's something that is an exciting idea that's been in the works for a while. And it's in there, the Rotary, with its international network of clubs, no doubt would have a role to play in that as well. So it's exciting to see that possibility take shape this year.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
So listen, I good Andy, because I wanted to tell Lewis, thank you sincerely for joining us today. Um, I do want to remind people, next week we'll be giving out some masks. I'll put more of the information on the city Facebook page and my page, the city, city website, and also we've had testing here in the city for the past 2 weeks now, right, Andy?
But more
Right
than
in the
that,
youth
actually,
programs.
yeah, there's a number of testings of HRH, now Sun River.
Yeah. So
Um,
anybody who's interested in testing, or interested in getting tested for for coronavirus, the city we're working with the county and Westchester Medical Center had a testing mobile testing site right here in the Peekskill Youth Borough parking lot for the past 2 weeks. So if anyone is really interested in getting tested, all you got to do is call and set up an appointment, and they'll test you there. And it's rapid testing, so it usually doesn't take no more than 3 days, 2 or 3 days. Sometimes even within a day, in 24 hours. So
yeah,
we certainly encourage people to spread the true information on where you can get tested. And again, check out the city website for all of that information as well.
yeah. I mean, those facilities, they're operating out of Westchester Medical Center in Valhalla. It's all by registration. Very few people have actually taken advantage of that service when they've provided it in the city. We connected them with the library, and over this past Saturday, I think maybe 10 or 12 people took advantage of that service. So we continue to promote the availability. The information is easily available about where people can get testing in and nearby Peekskill. And I think it's just going to become more and more um, required, really, across the board,
Absolutely.
especially following the holidays and so on, when we're expecting to see the COVID numbers continue to come up pretty sharply across the region.
So yeah.
So
Well, listen.
yeah, I want to mention two other things just quickly. Just operationally, this Thursday, because Friday's a holiday, the pickup of recyclables will take place on Thursday instead. That's one item. We're just reminding people about that and continuing to reinforce the schedule for pickups. And the other is that the Business Improvement District very nicely has dropped off a stack of very nice posters inside the lobby at City Hall. Anybody's welcome to use. They're meant for the windows of local businesses, and they're essentially the health message about using a mask. And they're nice to look at. You go walk around, the downtown business area, and you see signs of all different types. People just write on a piece of paper, mask required, please stay safe. And these are really nice posters. So anybody who's running a local business has a window on the Main Street area is welcome, or you could use them in the Housing Authority if you'd like. Anywhere you want to send a message and just remind people to wear masks when they come through a door, these signs are available.
Absolutely. Thank you. So again, Louis, thank you sincerely for joining us. Thank you for all the work that you're doing with the Peekskill Housing Authority. Please send my appreciation to the board, send our appreciation to the board, as well as the director and staff. And same thing for the Rotary Club too. They definitely showed up last week and came out and helped us out. So that was great. So we look forward to continue the partnership with them as well. But I wish you a happy new year, successfully and safe new year. And everyone out there watching, this will be the last virtual meeting that you see from us until 2021. So I wish you all who are watching a happy, healthy, and safe new year as well. And Andy too, your first year with us, you did a phenomenal job so far, man.
Thank you very, very much.
Pandemic, you still have hair in your head. So
yes, yeah, barely.
But sincerely, everyone out there, happy holidays, happy new year, and I look forward to bringing 2021 in with success.